Howdy, 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 howdy. Howdy, all 14 viewers we got on the Crow's Nest this week. Hopefully that's going to bounce up a little bit,
It's
but
And
it's
actually,
Weeby and his 13 pugs.
I was about to say
it's,
that. It looks like it's only Weeby. And
hey, let's
Hi,
just have,
Weeby.
Weeby, let's just have you call in, and then, and then we don't have to do a stream. All right, so Crow's Nest and special guest this week is Gene Van Horn. Hello,
Hey,
welcome,
kids.
Gene. Hey,
Thank
kids.
you.
How's
oh,
everybody doing?
look at that.
Oh,
Bob and Julie are here.
Bob and Julie are on,
Hey,
and
Bob and
Jen
Julie.
Greenwald are here, and we're up to
Hey,
20
Grin. Hey,
people.
Jen.
Oh, so
Bug Lips is here.
Bug Lips is here. This is awesome. Well, we're starting to. I think everybody's just waiting in the wings. Oh nope, somebody dropped off. We're down to 19 again. I should stop looking at the number of people.
Yeah. Don't do that.
All right, because it really means a lot to me. Oh, and Gene logged in too, so I'm back up to 20 now. I got to be right. I know, nope. Anyway, so hope everybody's doing well, and I'm one of the 19 too. So we got Gene today, and we're going to talk to Gene, and we're going to work on. Do you remember this thing, Gene?
Oh, I do. The
Yeah,
Pit Fiend.
this is the pit thing.
Oh, no. It's, what is it?
Arga,
Some demon.
Argamenamon or something
Yeah.
like that. I don't
It's a
know.
pit demon. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah, pit demon, pit fiend. I don't know, whatever. He's been in progress for quite a while, and so I thought I'd pick him up since that is kind of your deal. Yeah,
Yeah,
Agramon is what Buglip says. He knows all this stuff.
he
Um,
does.
so, yeah, this is it's pretty cool. He's Bones 4. I don't think he's actually out yet. He was part of the Kickstarter, so I don't think he's in general release yet.
Wait. He's Bones 4 and he's still not out?
I don't know. I don't know.
Justin, you're going to have to talk to Ron about that, man.
Right. Yeah.
Justin's ignoring us.
Jedi Jared says Proctor boosts his numbers by logging into all of his devices. Like, that's a good idea. I should do that. But this is version 2, right? This is your
Yeah.
you did this guy what? How long ago? Forever.
A long time ago. It was like 2005, I think, 2004.
I painted that figure before I even knew you. And I searched for it and I couldn't find it. And with our whole remodel going on, I have a lot of my old painted miniatures stashed away, and I just
Uh-huh.
couldn't find them. They were all buried. But I wanted to pull them out and see. It was a dry brush mastery.
Oh, it was. It
That
was
whole
heavy
case.
too.
It
Hey, by
was
the way,
freaking
Like
heavy.
when
it's
it
like
comes to released minis, just
Uh-huh.
as a side note,
Yeah.
funny fact about that.
Yeah.
We gave away some Dance of Death like 8 months ago,
Uh-huh.
and they're still not here yet.
You're not still here for you to give away?
No, they're not in the building in the United States at all.
And you gave them away before you even had any to give
That's
away.
because I had bad information. I was given bad information.
Dope.
it's the
Yeah.
COVID. We'll blame
Well,
it on the COVID.
It's just want to stay consistent with hashtag not professionals, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. Listen, we have an image to uphold, right? Also, I do feel like this
Exactly.
comes up every week. How much pull do you think I have at Reaper?
Oh, 0. I've seen
Well,
you.
then there you go.
Well,
Okay.
it's your engagement sometimes is a little questionable too. Frank's on with Nightheart Gaming.
You know
Hey,
what?
Frank.
I just
I'm gonna let
backed
Sorry,
that
I
bus
missed Friday,
Frank
Frank.
backed that bus over you and took off. Hey, yeah, you missed a great D&D session on
I
Friday
did.
night.
I did. I was a hacking, sneezing mess. There was no way.
You
You
sound a
didn't
lot
want
better.
to. You didn't want to hear me sitting here coughing and hacking for the 2 hours.
No,
I didn't
we
want
don't
to do
need
that either. So
Well, we had. Did you watch it at all? Did you see that Justin decided to jump in and roll as many 4s as he possibly could?
Thank you for. Hey, you know what? Proctor and I are the best diplomats in that group. Let me just go ahead and say that.
did you
Hey,
try to attack everything in sight too,
he had
Justin?
my back.
We did, yeah. We actually went upstairs and tried to de-escalate a mob,
Hmm.
and basically ended up beating the entire mob up.
Well,
So yeah,
it was because of your 4 on intimidation that caused the mob to.
Oh, blame it on my intimidation again.
No,
Here we go.
Frank said it's going to be dependent upon your role because you were. I was throwing down the smackdown on him, and I think my role was okay. But then you were going to do an intimidation roll, and you rolled a 4.
I have a +5 to intimidation.
Well, it's still not enough. Still not enough. But
You
we
need a
opened
new
up a
set of
can.
dice.
We opened a can of whoop ass on them. So they didn't do it. They didn't. We needed to do something. I mean, I'm here to kill things, not to talk.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's I'm being true to my character's description. So,
I'm gonna
anyways.
grab a drink real quick, guys. So,
All right.
just let you know.
So what I've done on the other show so far that we've had on some really great guests is I wanted to show what I had in my little cabinet of things that I've painted of yours, and this is from the new Kickstarter, and everybody's seen this kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
yeah. This is the new larger size
the
mouse.
Dusk Warden. Yeah, you know what? We're going back to smaller mouselings.
Oh, so just
You
these
heard it
4?
here first.
Just these 4 are going to be
just
bigger?
those 5, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going back to smaller mouselings because that way we can still do them in metal and in plastic. They're still going to be the proportions might be a little different on some of them, but we're going back to the standard mouselings.
Huh. I like this size.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe we can do some for more of the Kickstarters, but it just doesn't work for like for ReaperCon. If you want mouselings, you can't do a mouseling that big in metal.
Yeah. He's super cool though. He's super cool.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You did an awesome paint job on him too.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to get a hold of the other ones because I'd like to paint them all the same. And then from this, these are out in general release, and they came out in January. They were Bones 4, and these are the Spartan statues, live statues.
Yeah, living statues. Those were some of my favorite figures when I did those. I really like those. Still have yet to see one in person.
These are super cool. I like them. I like them a lot. There's a ton of detail.
That's the one with all the battle damage. Yeah.
And this is the one that I was painting on one of the toolboxes that we had blue tack everywhere. But since Justin isn't here, I don't have to put blue tack on anything. I waited till he left so I could show this one off.
Why do you have to have blue tack on it?
Because
I get it.
Yeah. And then so that was the female version, and this is the male version. So they're just super cool, and I did a lot of little grass tufts and flocking and stuff to just add to the weatheredness of it. I should have put a little grass tuft, right there.
Daddy's lawn.
Yes. And I didn't do that. I could have done that on the previous figure, but I chose to do it on this one, just so you know. And then the other one, because the miniatures that I've painted, everybody doesn't know, Gene lives in Colorado with me. He doesn't live with me. He lives in the same state that I do. But I tend to give him everything that I end up painting.
Yeah, you do. I got a lot of them sitting right here. I wish I had my camera on. I would show them, but I don't.
One major exception is this guy.
Oh,
let me zoom out. Oops, Oops.
It's upside down.
And
there you go.
I'm gonna zoom and I'm
Wait,
gonna zoom out.
Is Chris Marquardt in the room?
I know. No. He dropped the studio model. He never got a hold of this one. Yeah. So I painted this thing twice. I painted him for the studio model, and then ReaperCon 2014. This was my diorama entry, and this was the last year I could compete for Sophie. So it's called "Where's My Gold."
Where's my gold? That's great.
And Allie Lou, she came up with the name because it was this Your Frost giant yelling, and in the big huge banner art, there's this dwarf that he's battling. But I was like, I want to do something different, and I wanted to use basically your sculpts, and so he's yelling at this little rabbit. You see the rabbit?
I do.
So he's yelling at the little rabbit, "Where's my gold?" And it's like, what do you mean, where's my gold? And so if you come along the side, you could see the same rabbit, just the pose altered a little bit. And I did a little sculpting to him, and then all of this gold. And there's a hole right there that the rabbit can drop down, and he's been stealing all the Frost Giant's gold. And it even goes around to the back and everything. So
Are
That's
Frost
awesome.
Giants known for their gold?
are Frost Giants they're known for their treasure, I guess.
Oh,
Or,
okay.
I mean, I think
I was
they
This
just
one
might
is-
have that.
That's all.
Yeah. So
Chris is known for dropping miniatures off tables, apparently, according to Bug Lips. That's why everyone has to glue their stuff to bases for the MSP Open.
yes. I don't want to throw old Mark Hart on
I
the
don't
bus.
know. He's a good guy.
He's great.
He's a good guy.
But a story that Gene referred to was, this is before I painted this piece. There, I had painted the studio model of that mini, and he was on my desk. We were at ReaperCon. He was sitting in front. Everybody could come by and at the artist row, and you could see it. And Chris leans over, and his shirt catches this model, which I had just finished, and it just tumps to the floor. And it's a solid block of metal. It was total metal. And just, I think I was going to dent the concrete floor. But yeah, it was just like, and he's a good friend, and I didn't want to get mad or anything. And it's just like, but
What are you going to do?
yeah, what are you going to do? He didn't mean to. And,
That actually does remind me, because I'm reading chat like I always do, Proctor.
right.
Like I've never missed a single chat message. Trash Rama wants to know where the clever crow emoji is, and that's a great question, since I think I asked you for the high def logo art of your stuff like 2 weeks ago, didn't I?
I will send it to you. Bobby was supposed to create an 8-bit clever crow, and he hasn't done that either.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I think I want to use an 8-bit clever crow for the emoticon. I think it would look really good.
Okay. All right. But
So
can
let's
you
get
make
on
that?
Bobby.
Well, Gene can
If
make
he
it.
lives,
Yeah.
apparently he's sick this
Oh
afternoon.
no!
That's what he said.
Does he have the COVID?
He might have the corona. Yeah.
Were you worried at all when you got sick, even initially, that you
No.
might have?
No, it was a cold. I could tell. You know what a cold feels like when it comes on.
I don't know. These
There was
days.
no fever or anything. Just
No.
snotty, drippy mess. You
No,
know.
that's just a normal Saturday for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Well.
Wait a
that's
minute. How
interesting.
do you get a snotty, drippy mess, Justin?
Yeah.
No comment. The same way you roll a 4 on a +5 intimidation.
All right.
That's
so,
a talent.
What is there? Am I missing anything? Chris is great. He says in the entry guidelines on the forum that if you don't glue them on, he'll drop them. Yeah, there you go.
Speaking of which, you know what? It's kind of a little bit of a sidebar, but I'm actually curious
Uh-huh.
because I haven't been to all of them, nor have I documented this kind of stuff. Has there ever been a time in the MSP paint contest's history where like something big and elaborate was dropped off a table or out of a judge's hand, and it was just completely demolished?
Not that I can remember. I do. There was a single figure. I don't remember who the entrant was, but and I can't confirm or deny that Chris did do it.
Oh wow!
Poor Chris.
But
Sorry, Chris.
Yeah.
We didn't mean to start throwing you under the bus.
I know, right? So I can't confirm or deny it, but yeah, there's one that did fall and go into pieces, and it was a good piece too. It's not like we care. I mean, it's not like, oh, it was a shit piece, so no big deal. We care about all of them, but it was a really nice piece. Like, oh my god! But Chris owned to. Oh wait, that wasn't Chris. Whoever did it owned up to it and apologized, and yeah, it all worked.
Yeah, I
out.
can't imagine how awful that would make you feel. To be honest with you.
Oh my god! Yeah, it was over. It was overwhelming. But anyways, so let's get back to Gene. I'm gonna work on this Pit Fiend Agramon or whatever right now, and gonna do a little bit more work on him, but kind of pop on his OSL on his chest a little bit. I have not finished the Fireball. It's just kind of blocked in. I have his nails kind of painted this yellowy color, and I think I'm going to go away with that. I'm going to get rid of all of that, and it's going to be more of like a dusky skin kind of thing. I think that'll go well, and that way I can hit the OSL on top of the dusky skin, because right now them being a more of a yellow makes the OSL kind of effect less impactful, I guess is what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to kind of work on some of the fine details probably around here, because it's probably trying to think, since he's so big and cumbersome, and when it's something this big, I tend to move it around a lot, and you get a lot of this, and that's going to make people nauseous. So I'm just going to try to work on him just in this area somewhat. So, but and I don't know if everybody knows this, but Gene is my con husband.
Yeah.
No. Gene
You're my
and
con wife.
We labored over the title of this episode. We really did. And we almost named it Clever Crow's Con Husband.
So Gene and I were talking, and so I don't even know what year it was that the very first Artist Con, and that's where we first met, and we were roommates from the very beginning, right? But over the years, for the various Artist Cons, Reaper Cons, Gen Cons, whatever, hell, even a Genghis Con, we have been roommates, and I can't think, besides my parents and my wife, Michelle, I don't think I've spent more nights in a bedroom with anybody else but Gene.
I'm sorry.
No, I mean...
You don't have any childhood friends you spend a lot of like sleepovers with or anything like that?
Yeah, but we got to be going on a couple weeks
It's
every
years.
year. Yeah, a couple weeks every
yeah,
year.
I forget. You guys are boomers.
Yeah, we're not boomers.
Boomers, we're Gen
yeah,
X. What are you talking about?
That's what makes it so fun.
Yeah, we're Gen X, you d-bag.
Oh boy.
So,
Hey, you know what? At least you're not a millennial, all right?
yeah, that's what you
That's
are, right?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. Hey, there's nothing wrong with millennials. You know, I don't hate on them. I think they're great. You know.
No, we just have some eccentricities about us. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. It just depends. I mean, I think everyone, every generation has their pros and cons.
I will say, at least us millennials didn't eat Tide Pods like Gen Zers did.
That's just dumb.
Yeah,
I just don't
true.
get that. I just don't get that at all.
I don't get that either.
Yeah. Hey, so Gene.
Yes, sir.
Now, you used to work at what was that art store in Denver?
Meiningers.
Meiningers.
Mm-hmm.
I remember going into Meiningers, and I already knew you, but you hadn't told me the Meiningers story.
I know where you're going.
And so when you go into Meiningers, this is high-end art store in downtown Denver. It's probably one of the nicest art stores. You can get real art supplies, you know, drawing pads and oil paints and you name it, whatever you want to get. And in the back, there's this kind of sculpting area. And I was getting into miniatures and trying different things, and went in there to get it. I wanted to get a ceramic palette, which they had, and I think I got a wet palette there at one time too. And in the back around this corner, that I see, oh, there's green stuff. I'm like, that green stuff looks really old. And in this little plastic box about yay big, there's this a miniature sculpted in green. And I'm like, wow, look at that. Why is that in here? And in the bottom, and I forget exactly what it says. It's like sculpted. Go ahead.
It says, come here. That's what it says. Come here.
And sculpted by Gene Van Horne.
Yeah.
And so as soon as I left the store, I called Gene up. I'm like, dude, are you pimping business on the side? And tell us the story on that.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that was I think my second or third sculpt ever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
And you were working there, right?
Yeah, I was working there, and I had discovered I was just starting to sculpt. I was just starting to play with green stuff, you know, and this was back in the day when the internet was not, you know, this was what 99 2000. So, you know, it was nothing near where it is now, and they had the old one list sculpting group on Yahoo. And that was about the only place there was information on how to sculpt miniatures. So that's what I used to learn. But anyway, I was just playing around with green stuff, and I was working there at the art store, and I thought, oh well, I get a good discount while I'm working here. Maybe I can have them bring some in, and I can buy it. here
Mm-hmm.
instead.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got them to bring it in, and they said, you've got to sculpt this something. Here, take some green stuff home, and we'll put it up in a little case. I said, okay. So I had no idea what to sculpt. I'm looking for it right now. I don't know if I can find it,
Did you get
but
it back? Is it still there?
I don't know. It's either still there or they got rid of it. I don't know.
Okay.
I wouldn't surprise me if that green stuff is still there from 2000 or whatever it was.
Yeah, they don't turn over a lot of their stock there. They have a lot
No,
of old
not
crusty
that,
things.
not stuff like that. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's this silly looking ogre troll thing. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's really bad. It's about it. I used a full tube of green stuff, and he was probably, I don't know, 8 inches tall, 9 inches tall,
Yeah.
something like that. And he's just. I'm looking for the pictures right now because he's horrible.
He wasn't horrible. He was really
Yeah, he's
cool.
pretty bad.
I think you could have sold him to somebody. Somebody would have bought him, especially back
Oh,
then. Yeah. Especially back then.
especially back then, exactly. The bar was much lower then.
So, and you sculpted in green stuff forever, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, for as long as everybody else was.
Yeah.
He was always the pioneer, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He would always everybody was sculpting in green stuff, and he wanted to start messing with Fimo and polymer clays, and so he would do that, and I followed suit, and then he got into digital, and I followed suit.
Mm-hmm.
But I sculpted in green stuff for, gosh, it was probably till 2006, 2007. I don't know, something like that, 2008 maybe,
Do
and then
you don't
switched over to putty.
do you
Or
miss do you miss the green stuff at all? Do you miss sculpting like that?
I miss the tools. I
Mm-hmm.
miss the making your own tools. That was always fun. Looking for tools. That's always a blast. Um, I miss the tactile sensation. Hey, there's Derek. Hey, Derek.
Hey, Derek. Speaking of tools,
Hey now.
no,
Hey
not
now.
Derek, not Derek. No. Speaking of tools, nice segue there. You made these for me, and
Oh,
if
did
you
I?
were back in the day, if you were
Yeah.
in the know with Gene Van Horn, because you made
Yeah.
these for a few people,
Yeah. Yeah.
he would make you these
Thank you, set of
kick-ass
tools.
sculpting tools, and I've used them. You don't always see exactly what I do. A lot of it is basing kind of stuff, but yeah, and you were always. I always thought. You remember you came over one time and you taught Michelle and I how to sculpt
Uh-huh.
faces. God, I still have those somewhere. I don't know where they
How far away from each other actually are you?
are. 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Yeah, 15, 20 minutes.
I actually thought it was more like a couple hours. That's crazy. You guys really are neighbors, more or less.
Yeah, sort of. We
Well, he
don't.
lives on the mountain. I
Yeah.
live down, not on the mountain.
Ah, so one of you is sensible and the other is not.
Yeah, yeah. The one that lives in the mountain. Why do you move to Colorado if you don't live in the mountain? You know, it's like I could live in Kansas and live in the flatlands and Denver. So, anyways. So yeah, so you, but then you, because I've lost my train of thought. Back up a little bit to
Talking
your.
about you were talking about me coming over and sculpting faces with you.
Yeah, you came over and you sculpted faces with us, and
We've lost him.
now I walked away.
Yeah, he kind of has a short attention span. Tends to do this. He'll wander off and forget that his
Damn.
mic is stationary.
Yeah, well, I got to make love to the mic, but I was looking for those busts, and they used to be in my case, and maybe I put them somewhere else. I don't know where they are, but anyways, yeah, that was a lot of fun. And so why I was going there is, you always were such a great teacher in sculpting.
Well,
There's
thank you.
There's those people that do really well, but
Yeah,
sometimes it's hard for them to communicate that back. And so that's why I wonder. You always did such a good job teaching, sculpting, traditional sculpting, I guess, for lack of a better word. Do you miss that part of it? Because I don't know, you're really good at that.
Well, thank you. Yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I miss, I miss doing some of the things the old way, but I'll tell you, being able to sculpt digitally, I can see what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to see is the biggest one.
Because that's what
But
Bobby said. I asked Bobby, "Why'd you change?" He goes, "I couldn't see the miniature anymore that I was sculpting."
yeah, I
Really?
mean, it's true. You know what? For the longest period, I didn't even have to wear magnification. I
Mm-hmm.
would just sculpt, and I had really good eyesight. And
Mm-hmm.
then as the years progressed, it's like, okay, now I need an optivisor. Now I need a stronger optivisor. Now I need the strongest optivisor. Ah,
Yeah.
crap! Now I can't see anymore. So, you know, it does happen, unfortunately. And but I still paint a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I you know I
You do. You're a good painter.
Oh, no, 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 no.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
a, I'm
you're.
a hack. I'm a complete hack. But I mean, I don't put the time and effort in that I should. If I did, maybe I could get halfway decent, but I
Mm.
don't. So, but everything I know, I've learned from you. So
Well, that's to say, if
maybe
I
that's
saw,
why I'm a hack.
yeah, because I'm a shit teacher.
No, you're a good teacher.
Just
Remember when we sat together and we painted the Stranger Things wizard together?
yeah, yeah. Did we ever finish that? I don't remember.
We were pretty close. I
Yeah,
I went ahead and just finished mine.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, we sat there. That was at some Christmas party. Some.
yeah. It
Uh,
was. Yeah, it was one of our little Saturday paint clubs. Tell them, not everybody probably knows the Stranger Things story. Uh, not every if everybody doesn't know this, Stranger Things season one, when they're playing D&D, and I keep banging the table, I probably shouldn't do that. They'll show that maybe it's the second, third episode ish. I don't quite remember. They have
I don't.
all their little table downstairs in the basement, and they're playing D&D. And there's a lot of miniatures on there, and a lot of them are older miniatures. But there's the wizard in there, and that wizard's a Reaper miniature, and it was sculpted by you.
Yeah,
And how did you
yeah.
find out about? How did you find out that that was being used?
Bobby, Bobby. We watched the show, and I didn't even see it. And
Ah,
and I don't know. A few days later, Bobby texts me or emails me. He's like, "Dude, you've got to watch Stranger Things." I said, "We are watching it." He's
mm-hmm.
like, "Your figure is in that show." I'm like,
Yeah,
"No, it's not." "Yeah, it is. It's really, it's in the show."
that's
"Really?"
awesome.
"Yeah, yeah, it's episode whatever, and your wizard is right there."
Yeah,
And sure enough,
yeah,
my
yeah.
wizard, 2 seconds of fame.
Hey, that's super cool. That's super cool. They should have given you some credit for that. They should have been listed in the
No,
credits.
whatever.
But
No,
they
all the
probably
love is
had no
for
idea. Yeah.
all the love is for the monster,
Yeah. Oh
the
yeah.
Demogorgon.
That was a cool miniature
Oh,
though.
that was a great old figure. That
Yeah.
rebooted that guy's career.
Yeah, it did. And
So,
speaking of something that's not Demigorgon, you're working on something too, right? Did you finish up
oh, the
the
demonic lasher?
Yes, yes. It has no relation or anything. I don't know how I
No,
jumped from
not at all.
Demigorgon to Demonic Lasher.
Not at all. Yeah,
But
yeah, it's finished.
yeah.
It's finished and got sent off to China and everything.
Oh, cool, cool.
I'll send you a movie.
Yeah, send me a movie since for that I won't see it until it comes back from China. Hopefully, I will. Hopefully, they will get some pre-copies so we can get something
I
painted up for you.
I changed the textures on him.
Yeah.
He had some weird kind of indented textures I didn't care for, so he's now more alligatory.
Now, was this based on Izzy art,
Pretty
or was this more of your concept on this?
Um, Originally there was an Izzy concept, but
Mm-hmm.
Ron wanted to go in a different direction,
Mm-hmm.
so we I started fooling around with it and just kept fooling around and kept fooling around, and a year later kept fooling around.
Yeah, this was one of those multi-month, long-term kind of sculpts.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
It
and that was
was.
because of just different changes in art direction or ideas of where it needed to go, or what?
Um, it was a little bit of there's lots of fires to put out. Oh
Mm,
my gosh, we got to do this figure for so and so. Let's do that right now. And so it got put on the back burner a couple times, and
mm-hmm,
then by the time I'd pick it back up, I'd ask Ron, well, where were we? What should we do? Oh, let's change this now. Let's change his pose again. Let's
mm-hmm,
change his pose again.
mm-hmm.
You
Do
know how
you?
it goes.
Yeah, no, and that's a good question because I will get since even I've been doing this stream, I've worked on a different miniature almost every episode, and only one of them is complete by now, and that was the May chick, the Asian monthly May miniature. But
Hmm.
the other ones, I will bounce around. Like when I picked Argmon back up, I'd worked over him over the summer, and then things came up and took precedence over me finishing him.
Hmm.
So, and sometimes the longer they sit, the harder they are to pick back up again. You know,
Yes.
and to figure out, okay, not necessarily what colors I'm using because I don't even try. I don't even try to find what I'm just gonna keep painting on it, and hopefully it'll all come together. Because for me, I'm
Think-
not a I'm. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think that would be harder with colors than it would be, just picking it up to keep sculpting is not a
Hmm.
big deal. I mean, yeah, you got to kind of figure out where you're at, but with colors, there's so many colors and they're always coming in and out of production, and I would think that would be really hard to, you
Well,
know,
I
to
have
match it.
my go-to kind of colors, so at least I know those, and I can mix a lot of times too close to where I need to go. And if I end up, I can't even figure out where I'm doing, I might just end up repainting that section if it's not. But a lot of
Mhm.
times I can get close enough. And if it's a big beastie like this, you're going to have enough color variation all over the place that you get close enough. You get, I don't know, you get close enough. But it's hard sometimes to pick that thing up again or go, all right, I want to jump back into what I was working before, but sometimes getting the motivation because you've taken such a long break, and now maybe your interests are in something else, but now you've got to go
Mhm.
back to this thing again. Do you find that hard? Like, was it hard for the demonic lasher to go, all right, now I got to get my head back into this piece, where I've been, I don't know, doing
Oh
mouse
yeah,
links or something before that, right?
yeah, yeah. It's hard to revisit a sculpt.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's hard to, especially if after it's been more than a couple months. When
Mm-hmm.
when you're talking multiple months or even years later, you're just like, I'm done. I don't want to do this, but
No, I know, I know, I
you know,
know.
you got to
Yeah,
do it.
yeah,
Um, but let's see in the chat, Evil Twin
yeah,
Mason,
yeah.
and Elaine Bonnerstock. That was the wizard from Stranger Things. I
Mm.
couldn't remember. Thanks, Evil Twin Mason. And Frank says,
Yeah.
Justin, you used that mini as your mini on the stream.
We
Hmm. All right.
No, we didn't.
You didn't?
I don't think
Did,
so.
did he have a staff and a pipe and a?
Yeah, I don't think he had a staff and a pipe.
Yeah.
I don't think
You
so.
know, I don't know, to be honest.
Because you were an elf wizard. So,
Oh, yeah. Actually, it looks like Neidhart said Corral Farstep Wizard.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, Carl. Yeah, Farstep.
Did you do that one? Or is it?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't remember. Ron names them all, so I have no idea what they're called. I call them, dude with the floppy hat, chick with the big sword.
I never know what the miniature is called. When I send him final pictures, it's always, this would be Demon Dude with the fireball or something like that. It's
Exactly.
9 times out of 10 it says dude in it, something. Yeah, it's the mouse dude with the sword or
Yeah.
whatever. I have no idea what it's called. And then especially when it comes to Kevin Williams Cthulhu stuff, I can never
Oh
keep
my
those
gosh.
names. I can never keep those names
Even if
straight.
you have the name, you can't pronounce it.
So yeah,
The Vorglugorg?
yeah.
Okay.
So
Those are awesome
have
beasties,
you
though.
seen Kevin's? And is this another piece that I've just airbrushed so far? and just blocking in colors.
Oh,
But
that is awesome.
this thing is it's intimidating as hell. I talked about it maybe last week or so. I'm still trying to get comfortable in what I'm gonna do, and so I thought I would. A lot of times, even if I don't know, I have some reference art, and the eyes are going to be that blue. I just wanted to put some color in there.
Cool.
Sometimes it helps just to say F it and let's throw color on and see how it goes. Because it's going to be a very mottled, I don't know, kind of color scheme. But he's going to have he's not going to be bright or anything. He's going to be dark. But yeah, so that's kind of.
Does it ever scare you when you're working on one of those figures and you're like, ooh, this is kind of creeping me out? Sitting there late at night, the house is all quiet.
Yeah. I it was with Nyla Throp or whatever. It was Kevin Williams, the one, he's Cthulhu from the previous Kickstarter. I was painting that and I'm like, you know what? I listen to audiobooks a lot when I'm painting, and I'm like, I'm gonna download a HP Lovecraft anthology. I kind of had to stop because I paint kind of late, and it was kind of creeping me out. You know, and it was more of the story than the miniature, of course. But the miniature was just kind of staring at me with all those tongues and tentacles and all that stuff going on. So yeah, I don't know. It was a little out of control. But
That's funny.
yeah. Nyar Lot Hotep. Yeah, that one was so freaking cool. This one is the next step up. It's every time he levels up his Cthulhu beasts. And I would love to have Kevin Williams on this show, but I've heard that he will hurt people if he has to come on. So I don't want him to hurt anybody. So we won't do that.
Yeah. You don't want Kevin to go crazy on you. I mean, look at what comes out of his imagination. Can you
Exactly.
No.
Exactly. So,
No.
Let's see here. So I'm just kind of doing a little exaggerated kind of OSL on this chest, and it's kind of going to bleed into cold purple on the sides, and you'll see that it's kind of over here where it's not really hitting. It's going to be more purplish, and where the light's hitting, it's going to be a little more OSL-y. I know that's probably not the right term, but that's what I'm going to use. So now you got into digital, and you kind of jumped into it real quickly. What was your learning curve? I mean, you had Jackson helping you.
Well, I didn't jump into it quickly. I was very slow.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby had started transitioning, but he was doing it all by himself.
Phrasing.
Yeah. Well, he's crazy, but he's a digital artist from way back.
No, I said phrasing when you said transitioning.
Oh.
Never mind. Let that one go.
Sorry. So he was a digital artist from way back, and he's always been big into 3D programs. I never was. I like 2D stuff. I do Photoshop all day, but I never really played with the 3D stuff back in the 80s and the 90s. I was exposed to it, but I never really used it on a consistent level. So once he started having some success with it, then I started playing around with it. But it took it was probably I probably played with it for about 6 months, and then I said, okay, I got to get serious about it. And then from that point, it probably took another 8 months of solid work before I was comfortable with it, that I could do anything I could do traditionally, And still, even to this day, there's probably, I don't know, 60% of the program, 70% of the program that I don't even use. There's so many ways to do it. That's what makes it so hard to learn. Is the program is you can do the same thing 20 different ways, and the problem is you have to learn how to do all those 20 different ways. It'd be like if you had to learn how to paint, fire 20 different techniques to paint your fire, and it's like you had to learn them all before you could figure out which one you really wanted to use. And that's what takes a long time with learning it. It's not none of the concepts are really that difficult. It's just, it's a whole new thing to learn. It's a whole new language. It's a whole new way of thinking. And you have to apply your artistic talents to it. So,
what was there any go-to YouTube videos or go-to kind of things that you can recommend for anybody out there that wants to, maybe?
Yeah, if you the best thing right now are the actual ZBrush what is it, Z Central, which is where the forums for ZBrush. You can go there and they've got all kinds of free learning videos that are fantastic.
Okay, cool.
Hey, Aaron showed up.
Corporea's on. Awesome. Hey, so how long, when you got into digital sculpting, did you feel like, because you have a style, right? Everyone has a style. How long were you able to incorporate your style into it, or did it just come quickly? I mean, that's just the way you draw, that's the way you sculpt, so that's what kind of popped up. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I started seeing seeing my style emerge, right away. But with digital, you have to exaggerate things differently. So really one of the hardest things is not so much your style, but getting the exaggeration for print. Because when you're if you're doing a figure as big as this Pit Fiend, you don't really have to exaggerate his hands and his head and his feet. You just make him whatever size you're going to make him. But for a humanoid or a smaller character, you have to exaggerate those parts, the hands, the feet, and the head, much larger than you think you would, and the details, the edges of cloaks and the edges of various bits and pieces on them. They all have to be chunkier than you would think, and that's more difficult. So,
Ardius wants to know if Blender is a suitable low-cost alternative.
I have not used Blender much. It's more of from my understanding, it's more of a box modeling program.
That's what you make your shakes out of, right?
What?
Your protein shakes and everything?
Yeah. Protein shakes.
Bad joke.
Smoothies.
Yeah.
Got
Blender.
it.
Yeah,
So,
got it. Yeah.
No, it's a box modeling, so it's more like 3D Max or Maya. But that being said, they're always improving it. They're always, tweaking it, and there's lots and lots of videos out there for it. I know that Chris Lewis uses Blender quite a bit to do topology and things like that, messing with his geometry to take it back into ZBrush. But he works more. What you would call procedurally, where he builds the object and then he creates depth masks, and then in Photoshop, and he does it all with 50 Shades of Grey.
Smoke and mirrors.
Smoke and mirrors. Yeah, pretty much. Whereas ZBrush is really, it's like digital clay. You push it, you pull it, you mash it just like you would clay. So there are some low cost options for ZBrush if you're really interested and you want to play with it. There's Sculptress, which is pretty inexpensive, and I believe they have is it ZBrush Core? You have to go on ZBrush's website. I know they've changed they've changed how they sell their sales model. They're offering subscriptions, so you can subscribe for a couple months and see if you want to, if it's something you want to do. So there's low cost entry solutions instead of just spending $800 or $900. You can definitely find a way in.
Yeah, so back to the exaggeration things. Rings
Yep.
Raccoons says, that's the one that's biggest problem with WizKids minis. The exaggeration to their minis. They're more almost like lifelike, almost or
Yeah.
life
Real
scale.
proportions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
real proportions. And as a painter, I prefer the exaggerated proportions. Especially as the miniatures get smaller and smaller and smaller. I
Yeah.
mean, to
Yeah.
go back and to go look at a Tom Meyer, Raoul Partha sculpt from back in the day, or a Julie Guthrie 25 millimeter sculpt from back in the day. Fantastic sculpts, right?
Sure.
But they're so freaking tiny. I like the bigger things now because I can actually see it because I've
Ah,
got my
there you
prescription glasses on, my prescription uh, magnification glasses, so I could see anything, and I've got my optivisor up there too. But yeah, I go to the bigger things now because I can see them better.
how long before you transition to painting everything in Photoshop?
I know, right? Some people already do that.
I know. I
We
know.
won't go there, but it's yeah, it's fine. You can do whatever you want to do as long as you're having fun.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm not a big hater on people over editing their photos and everything. Do whatever you want to do. Have a good time. But know that you're going to show them. If you're going to show them in person, make sure that you can bring it. If you want to compete.
Yeah. That's a
But
whole can of worms.
yeah, yeah. But if you just wanna, that's the way you want to do it, and you want to show off your stuff, and hey, I'm not getting in your way. It's all good. Um, what else? I wanted to the thing, and you and I have talked about this before, and I've always meant this as a massive compliment. Um, I have, and it's about style. I have my kind of painting style, and it is challenging, very extremely challenging for me to go. I want to paint like this person, which is a totally different style, and try to incorporate that.
Mhm.
There's a lot of sculpts, and your digital stuff especially, but I even thought this before you converted over to digitally. I could see a weebie. I know it's a weebie, right? Um, I see. I used to look at your stuff, and I'm like, I know it's yours, but I couldn't take. There's a lot of times I couldn't take two different miniatures you've done and put them together and necessarily see that it was the same person doing that.
Mhm.
Did that just happen with you, or was that something that within your process that kind of made you? You can touch a lot of different styles really quickly and easily. Does that make
Well,
sense?
yeah, I did it um, from using other artists as reference. So
Mm-hmm.
like, I mean, when I was first starting out, one of my goals, one of my one of my goals was to be able to sculpt a Werner clock piece and not
Mm-hmm.
know that, have people think that was a Werner clock piece.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I ever achieved it, but
Yeah.
I got close. And the point is,
I'll tell you
the,
which one I can think of one off the top of my head. The Reaper Con Biker Sophie. That could have
okay,
been a Werner piece, super easy. It's so easy. I think it could have been. It's one of my favorite Reaper Con Sophies.
oh,
Is that one?
thanks.
Yeah, that's one of the, and the one where she's kind of on her knees by the grave, kind of thing,
Yeah.
looking over her
Oh,
shoulder.
that was like a yeah,
Yeah.
that was a Halloween Sophie.
Okay. Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, what was it? It was a con Sophie when Reaper was going to the Gen Con and whatnot.
Oh,
It was con Sophie.
yeah. But
But yeah,
the
this one's
biker Sophie was one that's definitely. I think you achieved that goal.
oh,
Just
well,
between
thank
me
you.
and you. Yeah. No one else
But
is listening.
that but so that's where it came from. I was always trying to uh, learn how to sculpt via other artists and what their process was. So I would look at their sculpts and I would try to replicate that to figure out how they were doing it.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense. I
Mm-hmm.
was I wasn't just copying them to copy them. I was trying to figure out, what are they thinking as they're doing this. And I did that with Werner. I did that with Bobby. I did that with Bob and Julie. I did that with Weeby. So you'll see bits and pieces if you really know what to look for.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see them in in my sculpts. But then at some point, once I was comfortable with how I was sculpting, I just kind of incorporated all that stuff and, you know, created my own style. I think Bobby summed it up best at one point. He said, you imitate, then you emulate, and then you innovate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you basically copy, and once after you've copied for a while, then you start adding your own spin on it a little bit, and you're emulating that style, and you do that for a while, and eventually you get to a point where you start creating your own things.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my process. Like I said, back in the day, there was nobody showing you how to sculpt or how to paint, or I mean, that just wasn't around. So you had to use what was available. The only thing that was available were miniatures.
Right, right. No, and there was just a good resource right there that you could buy relatively cheaply, and that you
Yeah.
could just work on and emulate and copy, but make your own. I mean, it's the same kind of. People ask me, how do you start? How do you get better? And I think finding something online that's painted well that you like, try to do it. But at the same time, take that and then make it yours.
Make it your own. Yeah, you have
make
to.
it. Gotta
have
make
to.
it yours, because then it's just like you just want to be a copier,
Right.
a photocopier. Then, but make it yours, and then so it could be your little piece of art, and you can be more proud of it. And at least that's just my take on it.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely you go from that emulation to the innovation and start
Mhm.
start putting your own spin on things
Yeah,
and taking it farther.
yeah,
We all stand on each other's shoulders. So
yeah. And it's good to. I mean, that's you. So I started going to the Reaper stuff, and you and I are roommates, and you're originally from Colorado, but you grew up in Woodland Park, right?
Yep.
And then you moved away, but you were in Iowa when we first started hanging out at Reaper, and then you ended up moving back. But that's been such a huge growth in my painting, was you coming back and you showing me. I mean, I'd sit with you and you were just so patient. I'm like, okay, show me how to sculpt hair. But the way you sculpted hair made me understand how it was sculpted and how it was put on, and it helped me kind of communicate better painting and everything. And volumes, the way you used to just, you've described the volumes when you're sculpting and how you build them up, kind of, then I could take that and go, oh, yeah, that makes sense. I can apply that to what I'm doing with painting. And then I'll try to sculpt things every now and then, and you laugh, and then so.
you should sculpt more.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just like I should paint more.
Exactly. There you go, right there. Exactly. So, but yeah, I think I would like to do the digital sculpting thing. It's just the money involved, and investing and all that. That's the barrier for me right now.
I mean, it's more of a time suck than
Yeah.
anything, because unfortunately with digital sculpting, when you're learning it, the trap I fell into, and a lot of people fall into, is they think, oh, okay, I'll learn this, and so they'll spend a couple weeks
Mhm.
getting comfortable with it, and they start making progress, but then life gets in the way, and they set it down for a couple weeks, and by the time they come back, they've forgotten everything they've learned.
Mhm.
And when you do that, you have to start all over. And I did that, like I said, for 6 months, and that was just a pain in the butt. So it's really, you have to stick with it, till you are comfortable enough with it that you don't forget it.
Mhm.
And that takes a large time commitment.
Mhm.
So, um,
Yeah, it's one of those things. There's so many different rabbit holes within this hobby to get into, right? And how many can you really explore, and for me at least, if I'm going to get into something, I want to explore it and I want to be good at it, right? And sometimes it is a little hard to push yourself in that new technique that you basically have to start over again. You know what I mean? And that's what's challenging. And do you have the time to invest in it? When I feel like I've gotten good at painting, but there's just so much more still to learn.
Oh yeah,
that I feel like
and that's the thing. As an artist, doesn't matter what your medium, you're always gonna be learning and growing. And the day you stop learning, and the day you think I know it all, that's the day quit and go do something else.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Hey, Justin, are you still around?
He's taking a nap.
Did he jump off?
I'm not actually.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, wait. Oh, what's going on in chat,
I was
Justin?
awake. I was listening. Thank you.
Okay.
I was grabbing my damn coffee.
Yeah, I was listening. You were listening with your eyes closed, right?
And yeah, counting sheep and everything, or in this case, crows.
Okay. Yeah. See, there you go. There you go. Well,
We got a raid from Trollord actually. About 30 seconds ago, it looks like.
did we really? Thank you very much for the raid. Awesome. That's fun. For you guys just joining, I got Gene Van Horne with me, special guest. That's why it says that in the top right of the screen. Famous Reaper sculptor.
Yeah. I wouldn't go that far.
Famous? Yeah, you
Maybe
are. Infamous? I think you're famous. I think you're famous. So, I mean, I don't know. And so, are you? Tell me about. You missed D&D at last Friday, so we got this Friday is off, and then next Friday's back to D&D. I really enjoy playing it. I am too,
Yeah.
And it's kind of something that I like to talk about on all of these little shows, just because it's just a lot of fun, dork fun for me, to get to do that kind of stuff. Because I wouldn't play D&D. Only time I played is when we'd get together at Reaper or at something where all of us are together. You know, that's the only time we ever get to play.
Yeah.
So big props to Frank for setting all that up and taking
Very
care
much
of us.
so.
And
Yeah, it's really cool. And he uses our miniatures, and he's
Yeah.
got really cool scenery.
yeah,
It's a lot of fun.
and letting us be a bunch of murder hobos.
Yeah, I had enough fun with Wizard that I might actually play again next time.
Oh, we've got a convert. All right.
Yeah, we need a wizard, and we need Gene back on so we can have
Gooseneck.
yeah, Gooseneck. I can have another fighter, so I can pick more fights, and I'm not by myself with some goofy wizard rolling a 4, and missing fighters coming in through a tight door, and he's missing them with his magic missiles or whatever.
Hey, I didn't miss with a missile. I missed with a firebolt.
a firebolt. I would think that'd be even harder, but you nailed that door. That door is not going to talk back anytime
You're right. I
soon.
singed the hell out of it.
Or door.
Yeah,
Probably
well,
for the best. If I had hit the villager with it, he may not have actually been able to be revived.
hey, yeah, Corncob does fight too. Corncob does fight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Bobby's the one. Pugh or whatever.
Ooh,
Pugh that's been avoiding the fights. So
Well, he's little.
he is little. He is little. So.
He'd rather run and hide.
But so let's see. How long have we been on?
Oh,
Justin?
speaking of poo holes,
Yeah.
we do have
Oh,
we,
no.
we do have a story we need to tell.
What's the story?
You wanted me to tell it.
Okay.
So Jen Greenwald,
yeah.
her first visit to Reaper.
Oh yes, we can't go without the
Jen,
Go for it.
Jen,
Go
are you
for it.
still on?
Yeah.
I don't know if she's still on,
Yeah.
but we're going to tell this story.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Jen Greenwald, she bid on, I guess, the first Bones Kickstarter. They had a VIP package,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so she bid on it and won it, and she went down to Reaper, and they were going to have a bunch of people, and it ended up being only me. so, sorry, Jen.
Yeah.
Great value, great value for your money. Anyway, so we're down there, and she shows up, and I show up, and I think at that time Martin was there, and who else was there? Kevin was there. I can't remember. Anyway, so we get ready to go to lunch.
So no Weeby, no Bobby, nobody. Just you.
No. But
Okay.
something happened. Something happened with Bobby, and something happened with Jason. Family emergencies or something. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting ready to go to lunch, and we decide to go down to some Asian buffet in Louisville. Now, this isn't Asian slop that we usually go
Yeah.
to.
Oh.
This is down in
I've
Louisville.
heard this story.
So you're like,
What-
you're
What
down
month is this? What month is this? What month is this?
a month. I
Yeah.
think it was like February or
Okay.
March or
Okay.
something.
Okay.
It had been raining. It had been
Mhm.
raining most of the weekend. So we get ready to go to lunch, and they used to have a company van. Reaper had a company van, big silver thing, and we go down to the loading dock to get in the van and pull it up, and we open the doors, and it smells like a barn. It is it's disgusting. I mean, it was gross. And Matt Clark Matt Clark says, "Yeah, sorry about that. I had borrowed the van over the weekend, and I was hauling stuff around with it because you can take the seats out of the van. He was hauling stuff around, and at the time he had this giant Great Dane, and he had his Great Dane with him, and he went to Walmart to pick something up, and he left the Great Dane in the van. Well, the dog was a nervous dog, and apparently he was even more nervous that Matt had gone into Walmart without him. And so I guess he decided he needed to take a crap in the van. And then he freaked out because he crapped in the van. So
Yeah.
he started running around and just spreading dog crap everywhere. So Matt comes out and he sees all this, and he goes right back into Walmart and has to buy a bunch of towels and cleaning stuff, right? So just to get it, he got it wiped down enough, I guess, just to get it to a car wash, where he opened it up and used the car wash to spray out the inside of the van.
Oh.
You know what's
So-
funny?
Oh wait, it gets better. So he sprayed out the van, brings it back to Reaper, and because it was raining all weekend, he left the windows rolled up. So it was warm and oh my gosh, it was just horrible. So we get in the van and the seats are still wet. And we're sitting in this van for half an hour to get Chinese food, and Ron and I are sitting there and our butts are just completely soaked. And we go eat Chinese food, and then I think it was Matt that says, "Hey, we need to show you where our old shop is over in Louisville, since we're here. We'll take you on a tour of all the old Reaper facilities." So we spent the next hour driving around in this poop van
With your poop pants on.
with our poop pants, showing Jen the old Reaper places, the old Reaper facilities. It's like, oh my gosh, could you have planned it any worse?
Yeah, exactly. The sad thing about that is, in Texas, it gets really hot and humid, of course.
Oh,
And then if we were down there during one of those hot and humid times, that van, even a year, they had that van for a couple of years after the poop incident. It would waft up. That van was steam cleaned multiple times, but at the right humidity, the right heat, that would just cook up again, and you would just get that sweet poop smell of.
So this dog is actually known for his atomic explosions. I say explosions. Like, he was known for they weren't unhealthy movements. Let's say it that way. But he was known for both size and smell.
Yeah,
And
he had large volumes of.
Very
Great
low.
Dane.
Yeah, it's a great
So
Dane.
there were two other instances that I can remember.
That's correct.
Jen didn't realize VIP meant van includes poop.
That's funny. Good job, Jen.
That's true, Jason.
Yeah.
But
no.
yes, no. To John's point, Nigel was a fantastic. He was a very sweet dog.
Yeah,
But
he was super
awesome. In fact, his paw print is on the back on the dock, actually,
Mhm.
from when they poured the cement. Anyway, so basically, there was like two other instances. One of which was Matt used to drive. I don't know if you guys remember this. Matt used to drive like a sports car type of vehicle. Like it was like red and it was kind of older. It was a Pontiac. It wasn't a Firebird, I don't think,
Mm-hmm.
but it was very small, and it wasn't that terrain that he drives now. In fact, it's what he had before the terrain, and he would always bring Miguel to work with him, like basically every day he came in. And so one day I remember he came in and he had some. He walks in through the dock area and he's got like this, like it looks like there's something on his shoulder, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's. I remember asking him like, "What's on your shoulder, Matt?" And he goes, he, he goes, Miguel pooped on me. So the point of the conversation was that car was so small, the dog could use the restroom. And I think he was in a hurry. He didn't live that far from Reaper, but he gets in the car in a hurry. He gets Miguel in the back. I don't even know how Miguel got into the back of that car, to be honest. It's very small. But he didn't have anywhere to use the restroom. So he goes to use the restroom, but his butt is facing towards the front of the car. And he ends up with this. It's on the console, and it's obviously large volumes.
That's projectile pooping. That's like showing.
Oh.
That's pooping for distance.
And the other time was when he had Miguel. He brought him in, and I think it was also in the morning. And this was when paint was in the main part of the factory. You know, there where it was kind of where distribution is now, where it was just open, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And Daryl would sit there facing the window doing the paint capping stuff. Like this was years ago.
Oh yeah.
And Miguel decided to come in. Actually, and I remember this because I was helping Daryl nipple and cap. That's on. This was like 5 years ago, and I was helping him on one side of the line, and Daryl was on the left side of the line.
You were helping
and then
Daryl
we both
with his
look at each other
nipples?
because we're like, "What is that? What is that smell?" Like it was so pungent. It just hit us like a wave, and and we look behind us, and Miguel at some point had dropped probably the largest pile. It was basically dinosaur poop, guys. I have never seen a pile of poop that large in my life until then. And it was in the middle of paint, just on the ground. And you hear Matt go, "Hey, Miguel took a poop. Hold on, I'm grabbing paper towel."
Oh. Oh.
And oh god, I almost vomited. I had to get out of paint. It was pretty rough. But because it was open, it was just filling the factory with it. And it was rough. But anyway.
See, we're glad you woke up, Justin. You added to this. Thanks for contributing.
Hey, listen, when you guys get into the nuts and bolts of what Gene's process is, the best thing I can do for the show is just shut my mouth. Right? Just listen to Gene tell his magic, or any guest we have on, is they take priority.
Right.
But then when you start talking poop,
Yeah.
Hey, when you start talking about poop, things that are, more from my kind of people, the lower brow, I love it, I could really jump in.
Poop.
should we tell that story, Proctor?
No, we're not telling that story.
Wait, why not? What story is this?
We're running over time right now.
Proctor copter. You have to ask him about the Proctor copter.
No, and we're not talking. And that story and the Chicken Express story at a later date.
Oh, I remember the Chicken Express story. Oh man,
Yeah,
that one's good.
Yeah, Chicken Express story we'll tell at some point. And the poop story wasn't me. That was Lovejoy. That wasn't.
Sure.
That was Lovejoy.
That's been Jason.
You were sitting next to him.
Trying.
So you got.
Yeah, I got guilt by association, but that's all Lovejoy. That was part of that story. But anyways, I think it's time.
We're at an hour 10. It's been a fantastic episode.
Yeah, this has been fun. This went by fast.
Yeah,
this
it
went
did.
by
I
super
agree.
fast. Yeah.
I mean, it helps when you take naps, but yeah.
So I didn't even show off any of my paint colors today, but there were reds and oranges and purples. So whatever you want to grab for that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think he's kind of fun. I kind of like the OSL, a little exaggeratedness going on, a little cold on this side, warm on this side.
Got the horn painted black.
Yeah, and I think
whatever darker color.
Yeah, I like that a little bit more. I think that'll be good. I'm gonna do that with all his toenails and maybe his underside, or maybe I might keep his under. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do there yet. I might go like take the dark elf triad and maybe do that with underneath his tail and stuff. It's kind of like he's got almost like a dragon's tail. I mean, you could take this tail and pop it off and put it on a dragon. But where the heat's kind of off, especially on the black, it reads a lot colder. Yeah. So that's it for today, Gene. Thank you for joining me.
I had a great time.
It's good to spend an hour and a half plus talking to you, and you're in Colorado, but you're all the way still back in the hill.
Where do you think this is bouncing off? Is somewhere in Uzbekistan or something?
maybe. Well, thank you everybody for joining. We'll be back next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Central Time, and he said he's going to be on. That Ron Hawkins guy. He said he was going to play D&D with us too, so I may have to be able to pull an audible, or he's committed to it. If not,
he was committed to Origins 2 years ago, and
so
I'm just saying.
if something happens, we might have a part of Gene jumping on board. So, anyways, Rings Raccoon, what mini is that? That's Agramon Pit Fiend. He was from the Last Bones. I don't think he's in general release yet. He's supposed to be a studio model if I can ever get around to finishing him. So yeah, that's what he is. He's super awesome. He has what we didn't even talk about that. He has, before we go, the flame ball. He's got his open hand, and he has a sword. Right? Is there just 3 hand options? That's it, right?
I think there's a couple heads too.
Yeah, there's a head where the mouth is closed, and this one the mouth is open. So art director wanted mouth open, so we went mouth open. And I wasn't going to do it without the flame ball. The flame ball was the reason I chose it, was to goof around with OSL, but that was the original sculpt, was the flame ball.
And real quickly, Samurai Jack 325 says get Adrian on it. She'll make him do it.
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
Yeah, you have to call Adrian. Adrian, make Ron be on my show.
Hey, he was giving me crap about not being on the show, so I invited him. He was always invited. He just didn't know it, I guess. But so he'll be on next week. But anyways, thanks again, everybody. Talk at you next week. And
I have a raid lined up for us.
Hey, I'm not. Yeah, I wasn't going to do that. I was about to go, Justin.
Okay.
Hey,
just
Justin.
making sure. Hey, you whisked us off 2 weeks ago. Just making sure.
I know. So let's start over. Hey, Justin.
Yeah.
Do you got a raid set up for us?
You know what, Proctor? I do actually. Not only do I have a raid set up,
yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and announce the rest of the shows we have this week.
Oh, hey, what else do we got going on this week?
So we have Ann's shows Wednesday, not just Wednesday.
Every single day.
Every single day, 11:30 a.m. Central.
Oh.
And now the one we show tomorrow afternoon, because tomorrow afternoon has now been reserved for ReaperCon meetings and movement towards that, since that takes its own time and effort as resources. Anyway, so next show we would have would be Ann's show probably tomorrow morning, and then Ann's show Thursday. Mm-hmm. And we may or may not have a painting platinum. We're going to wait and see. There's some things being shifted around there too. We may or may not, but we should have Reaper Live, and then we have Reaper Land, and I think that's it for Friday.
Awesome.
We don't have anything special this Friday, so.
No, we don't. Well.
But or every other Friday, I should say.
Every other Friday.
Anyway, that's it.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. Let's go rating.
Before we go rating, real quick, is there anything Gene wants to?
Oh, hey, Gene.
As you put it.
Hey, Gene.
What?
You got anything that you want to pub?
Hey, Proctor. Hashtag not professionals, right?
Hashtag.
No, I really don't.
Okay.
No, I don't. Not yet. Nothing that I can talk about openly.
Ooh, those ones.
There's a couple things that are in the works. So
dude,
maybe Ron can talk about them on your show next week.
Yeah. I do want to show. I would love to show those off. Yeah, I'm super.
I can't.
I've been kicking him in the balls for those for a long time. So.
A lot of people have.
Anyways, there's a teaser for you.
There you go.
All right. So again, next week, 4 p.m. Central on this channel. If you miss it, then go to YouTube. But if you would have missed it and you're on YouTube, you already know it was there. So yeah, and let's go rating.
All right. Well, we have a raid set up. We're going to be raiding another miniature painter.
Who's that?
I have not seen them before,
Hmm.
so spread the Reaper love, use the Reaper raid, have some great conversation.
Yeah.
He might be painting some GW stuff. I'm not really sure, but either way, just spread the Reaper love, guys, and keep buying Gene sculpts because they're amazing.
Yes.
Thank
And
you.
Proctor will keep making them slightly better with his paint.
He'll be making them a lot better.
Anyway,
as long as
thank
they're
you
not
guys
worse,
so much.
that's all I want to. That's my
As
goal.
long as they're not worse. Yeah, that's his tagline. As long as they're not worse.
As long as I don't suck it up too bad, that no, you don't want to buy it. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys, very much.
Cheers.
We hope to see you guys again next Tuesday.
All right.
Otherwise, we'll see the rest of you tomorrow morning.
Okay.
See you guys.
Hold on. Stream.